He received his educational baptism at Zango in Kano State and later traveled down to the east to complete it at Amise Primary School. Thereafter, he proceeded for his secondary education at Commercial School in Sirimo. He went further to Secondary Technical College Umuanwa. Being imbued by the determination to succeed, he got admission at the Missionary Training Institute, Nigeria, Port Harcourt Mission. With the determination to fulfill destiny and his desires, he got trained in National Institute of Freight Forwarders and Customer Broker, Certified Institute of Shipping Technology, United National Institute of Applied Security and Safety Studies, amongst others. As the chief executive with wide knowledge in team building and team management, his staff relationship has motivated them to work beyond organizational expectations, which has led to successful contract bidding, negotiations, contract award, contract execution processing, execution management, commissioning, and others. Amaze is a philanthropist, a man of honor and prestige. He is a chief humanitarian with life worthy of emulation because he works with certainty and believes in the principles of leadership. He is a man who has done tremendously in maintenance, sustainability of peace and order in the society. As a lover of peace and harmony, he has been instrumental to the peaceful coexistence of his people. Following his deeds of hard work and steadfastness, he has faced so many challenges that his objective would be to always contribute significantly to a forward-thinking organization by blending ingredients of knowledge, hard work, and dedication in an environment where creativity is encouraged and hard work appreciated. Due to his passion to impact lives by changing the narrative and the norms of the community and the society at large, he was crowned the majestic stool of the Sirimo Amise Autonomous Community in Omaya South AGA of Abia State. The peaceful coexistence of the kingdom has been his desire, and today we can see for ourselves that the Sirimo Amise Autonomous Community stands topmost in the commitment of traditional history in the local government area of Abia State at large, and will stop at nothing to ensure that this elect becomes a reality and is crowned. He is among the most outstanding and distinguished Abia achievers of the year 2025 as Abia marks 34. Congratulations.
Okay, and in case you're joining us, it's Family Love 99.9 FM on the Niger station. Once again, I got a very special personality, Abia Achiever, on this program today. Dr. Charles Amanza, PhD, Prince Ugochinyanawa, is Amadio Hansirimo, is a elect in Sirimo, Amis Autonomous Community, the Eni Balagadam. I will say good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much. I wish you well.
Okay, let's quickly talk about Abia at 34. You're part and parcel of Abia's progress and development. What does it mean to be 34, and how has it really brought you to a height that you are today? At 34, what does it mean to live and live progressively?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. I would say I am honored to be among the privileged ones as a youth. At 34, I would say life begins at 34 as a youth. And Abia, I would say that Abia has begun its progressive achievement at 34 at the tenure of Dr. Alex Ote. I think my experience is wide, and I wish to share with the youths, with my fellow Nigerians, what it means to be successful and what it takes to achieve your goals as a youth. I titled it A Personal Journey, Empowering Youth for Success, a Personal Journey. I would say I've listed out 5 points which I would love to share with my fellow youth on a way forward towards success. And one of these points is set a clear goal. Youth, I understand that we all have a goal to accomplish one thing or the other, but our failure starts when the goals are not clear. It is one thing to set a goal, it's another thing to set a clear goal. What is a clear goal? A clear goal is identifying what success means to you. Because what success means to you might not be what it means to the next person. So when you identify what success means to you, you can be able to set a clear goal. That will propel your viability towards engaging your person to achieving that goal. The number 2 point here I would like to put on before the youth is work hard and then persevere. Something is working hard. Another thing is breaking on the way. Success, we know, doesn't come. It's really impossible to say that success is a goal of seconds. It's a process. It's a training. You train your thoughts. You train your ideas. You train your ability to engage with your fellow beings. By so doing, you persevere towards hard work. This is the key towards success to the youth of today. By the time you put in hard work and perseverance, you will see that it requires nothing than consistency in what you call success movement. Number 3, I will advise is seeking mentorship. What do we do and how do we seek mentorship? The youth, I discovered that they don't want to learn from somebody. They believe going to school, acquiring a certificate, and being a graduate is the norm. No, it is not. No matter how highly educated you are as a youth, you need a mentor in whatsoever specific field you have choose to engage in. For example, after my education, I failed to engage in the shipping profession.
Okay.
I studied the shipping. I did not stop at studying. I engaged with a mentor who will pass on the skill. One thing is the education, another thing is the skill of that engagement. So a mentor has the skill, not the education room will give you the skill.
Okay, now I want to come in. You said to identify with a mentor, but now from your perspective, you actually went to acquire that study in the shipping without having a mentor. So something must have motivated or inspired you to say, let me go into this field of profession. Is going to be excellence at the end of the day. But then, after the knowledge you now identify with a mentor, it's like you had a contradiction from inception.
No, it's not a contradiction. First comes study. Second comes independency.
Okay.
So in engaging yourself in independency, you need a mentor. In engaging yourself in study, it is your personal pursuit. It is your suffering period. Because it's a first you suffer. Second, you ascend. Now, second, you are awakened. Third, you ascend. So in the stage of your suffering is when you are learning. In the stage of your awakening is when the mentor is now passing on skills that you require to break the jinx before you. Those skills is the propelling foundation you need to excel in every choosing career. You need a mentor. The skills lies in the mentor. If you don't have a mentor, you have a long way to go in that career. You have to learn to acquire the skills of that career. But when you have a mentor, the knowledge is with you, then what you need is the skill to be able to maneuver the troubling environment. And number 4 skill there I would like to is being focused and adaptable. If you are not adaptable by the society, you are not adaptable by a mentor, you are not adaptable by the environment where you find yourself, definitely success will be denied. So on that note, being adoptable means being humble. Being adoptable means being teachable. Being adoptable means you have a listening skill to be able to listen and hear, and then being able to engage. And then to crown it all, being adoptable means you are trustworthy. So the youth of today, when you want to engage them towards a successful training for the future, their most priority is what they can get today, what they can eat today. And this has made our youth to engage into a quick means of this wealth and then getting success, which have led them into one act or the other that is against the law because they want to be fast. Now, in acquiring success, we don't run faster than our mentor.
Okay, I want to also pause there. For instance, you are talking about people identifying themselves and discovering themselves. Environment matters as well.
That's correct.
There are some environments you don't see people who can actually energize. Let me take, for instance, in our environment, everybody with ambition of going to school. Everybody's with an ambition to going to learn skill. That will actually make someone who is down to get motivated or inspired by what's happening at the corner. But for those who are somewhere, nothing of such, how would they be able to resurrect? That is number one question. Then number two, the way you're speaking, it seemed like you were brought. You came from a golden spoon family where everything was provided. You were not exposed to menial jobs or all those kind of local things.
That is not exactly the truth. Yes, I was born in a family with golden spoon, but along the line things fall apart after the crisis in the north. We are returned home 1982, and I begin all over again from the village. Now, there are so many engagements we suffered through to see our way, and I had to seek a mentor. Well, how did I seek the mentor? There is one young man who was a photographer in my community, and the only means of livelihood then, if you are not a palm fruit cutter, you are there in the site digging sand, and I choose to be a photographer.
Okay.
And I met with one of our brothers, one David, who now gave me a camera. Then my father had this Vita camera that is long, one old camera. Then I begin with it to snap pictures on inter-house sports with students. Then when this David saw my enthusiasm, he adopted me into and then offered me a good camera. You see, being adaptable. Because someone has to see your engagement, someone has to see your seriousness, someone is watching from the corner.
I'll volunteer to help you.
He will volunteer to help you. It doesn't matter where you are. Success doesn't come whether you are in the village or you are in the bush. Wherever you are, in as much as you are being identified and you are adoptable, someone will come for you. So at that period, David came for me and then offered me a better camera because he has seen the work I do and said, this is good, you need a good camera. Then use this camera, whatever thing you get in the future, pay me gradually. So him coming into my life and training me further on how to handle the new camera he gave to me elevated my understanding and also approach towards photography. I now engage in seeking for better photograph contract experience. Now, this is how mentorship began. David mentored me throughout my primary 6 to seeking for admission. He mentored me to photography. Today, I am not a photographer, but that was what I began with in the community to be able to find ourselves
as a stepping stone.
As a stepping stone. So it's a foundation I laid.
Okay.
Now, if I did not engage on something, somebody wouldn't have offered assistance. Did you understand? This is how we engage. Now, the fifth point is giving back to the community where you come from. When you give back to the community where you come from, you create more value. You create more value to yourself and to those around you. Then you become a knowledge to others. Now, when we don't give back to our community, we will not be able to evaluate the success that we have made so far. Because whatever thing we do out there, we have a community to fall back to at the end of the day. So what can you identify as a youth in your community that you know you can function effectively with? Identify yourself with that. And there are many who also are looking for a way to solve the same problem. So you become a light to that effect. So our community, no matter how old, our community, no matter how poor, our community, no matter how rejected we feel we are in whatever community we come from, it is our basic foundational resilient step that we must not fail to uphold.
Okay, let me quickly go to what is looking like when it comes to upholding the norms and values. Now, your personality come into play. You are a traditional ruler and a young man indeed. But there are certain admonition to the young men about ensuring that the way of life, they don't involve in illegality or fraudulent activities, because everybody right now is falling back to the roots, that is knowing the tradition, customs and values and norms. As a traditional ruler, Yahoo people and many criminal activities, what do you think is an antidote to young people stopping it outrightly?
Thank you very much. As a young man growing up, we were faced with these challenges, and if we were not careful, we will have involved ourselves into things we don't know how to come out from. Now, these are the steps we followed to be able to sustain and overcome criminal activities in the environment. Number one is believing in yourself. Every youth who believes in himself will not want to dupe the next man, will not want to engage in a fraudulent act, because he believed in himself. He believed in what his hand can do. He believed in what his leg can do. He believed in what his mouth can do. He believed in what his brain can do. So to do is engaging yourself towards success. If you believe in yourself, you wouldn't want to hurt others. Number two is stay positive. When you stay positive and resilient, when you stay positive and resilient, life always throws challenges at us. But being positive and being resilient help us to be able to overcome those challenges of life that will lure us into criminal activities. Now, parents also contribute towards their children being able or going into one wrong act or the other. So we also advise parents not to give their children pressure towards material possession. Number three, network and build relationship. Not just building relationship, build relationship of trust. Can someone trust you? Can your decision be trusted? Can your actions be trusted? That is one of the best network that connects us. For example, I was able to work with His Royal Majesty Eze Baka Baka, Dr. Frank Adele Eke of blessed memory in Ikwere land. He taught me one thing. He said, "My son, one day you will be a king. That is why I am training you today. One of the things you must have to learn from me, if there's nothing you learn, is being curious." So I also advise the youth to stay curious and keep leveraging every opportunity they found themselves with. Then I was working as a direct service provider to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, where we go to communities and local government and provide medical aids in Rivers State. And Dr. Adeleke says, this idea is my dream from childhood, but I could not achieve it. But look at you, achieving a dream I had never achieved without money. I never had the whole money in the world to be able to engage NEMA. But because of how curious I am with the then chairman of NEMA, Dr. Udensi, he said, I have never seen a young man as curious as you are. Whatsoever thing you need from the management to execute your operations, I will give it to you. You see, so people want to see you stay curious. They want to see you stay positive so that they can be able to examine and quantify your ability. So I advise the youth that the way forward is not stealing. The way forward is not crime. The way forward is not dehumanization. Conclusively to your question concerning culture, I came to learn from the church as a missionary that we need Jesus Christ, we need the gospel to go to heaven. But the church never taught us about how we can access the Spirit. But in the culture taught me that I need the Spirit before Christ, then to heaven. Without the Spirit, I cannot know Christ effectively. And without Christ, I cannot get to heaven. And now, as a mediator, as a central figure in the process, our culture, our science, and our art is required. No one is to be thrown away. In the church room is the theater art of the gospel. In the other group is the cortex or whatever, is where the science of the gospels are being practiced. And in the culture is where the spirit act of the gospel is being practiced. So these three things is required for every man. Know your culture, know the gospel, and know the science and act as associated in the gospel and also in their culture. For instance, there are so many rituals going on. Now, if you understand the gospel, is the ritual going on in your community in line with the gospel stipulated principles, or are they out of your own intuition or thinking? Do you understand? These things have kept so many families and communities in bondage. And this is why when I came on board, I choose to cleanse the community in the cultural way first. Because cleanliness is next to godliness. What have we done wrong that we are behind after these years? And when we discover where we have gone wrong, the only thing is to correct it so we can be able to have a good and proper footing for the success we desire. So if your foundation is not properly managed in the culture, success will be difficult for you as a young man. If you don't understand your culture, you will not understand the gospel. I was a missionary. I went to missionary school. I served as a missionary. I learned a lot about the gospel. I became a member of the Church of Israel of Latter-day Saints. I learned a lot, even from what I've learned at the Pentecostal and all that. But when I came to the culture, I discovered I have not learned anything. And the culture have helped me to perfect my understanding about God and Jesus Christ. So these three aspects of our livelihood is required in every man. Your culture is God-given gift. The gospel is man's desire. Christianity was not a revelation from God. It was people's quest towards freedom of worship. So do not lay your head that the gospel or the Christianity will take you to heaven. No. They only give you knowledge. So the culture is where we get the background, mysterious knowledge that will help us understand the way God operates. Okay. Thank you.
Now, let me ask you this question. The influence of young men, going into what we can in Igbo land call omenala or tradition is a concern. What do you think triggered this particular uncertainty? Because if you look at virtually, there are churches everywhere. But these young men, both those who traveled abroad, decided to return and looked the way of tradition. What led to that? What triggered that? Would I say,
Returning back to roots.
that feeling,
Good.
that thought, that idea?
Good. I said, truth reflect upon our senses. Gospel light is given to all. The truth have reflected, and men have understood that there is nothing you can do apart from the culture. The culture is the foundation of creation. God is a cultural being. All tissues were created out of culture. Man was made out of culture. And salvation is also gotten from the culture, not from the church room as we are being preached. Now ask yourself, is clapping and dancing and receiving someone in the church the salvation we need? Absolutely is no. So men has grown, expand their knowledge, and have begun to understand that the church room is all illusion. Now I advise the young men, it is only a tiny line that separates the culture from mystical magic. I address to you to ensure that they understand the line between the mystical magic and the culture itself. So the culture, which we call omenala, is not a gwagwu, and that's a preparing of charm, hanging of charm here and there. It's not the culture of Igbo land. We don't prepare charms. The culture of Igbo land is spirit-oriented. Ihe anyị na-emewe ihe mmụọ. Ihe anyị na-achụwa aja n'Igbo land, anyị anaghị agwọ ọgwụ. That means in Igbo land, we perform sacrificial obligations. We don't prepare charms. So when the charms came into the business, our children begin to misbehave. So we are correcting the sentiment that the culture is more on sacrificial approach than mystical charms and preparations.
Okay, let's quickly get you back to where you belong, admonishing the youth and giving some of these important inspirational messages is key. The youths lack this so much. We don't have people like that. Instead of trying to admonish or encourage, you see them being dejected, rejected, and condemned. What do you think the privileged people in the society henceforth should start doing in order to correct the anomalies found amongst youth? Because sometimes you want to scold them, sometimes you want to condemn them, now leading them to more destruction, drug abuse, so many things are going on because they feel like we are left alone. Nobody comes to our rescue. What do you think spirited individuals who are privileged can do to help further?
Thank you very much. When I begin, I had a first encounter with the first spirit, and the spirit says, whatsoever thing that is not in the book does not exist. And the book we have today, let me use in the Igbo language to explain the way it is. The spirit said, that was the language the spirit used exactly. So, ukwu means something that is not entered anywhere in the records has no meaning. So I will advise the youths, the privileged ones today, study the Bible. Study the Bible and be able to extract the cultural relationship from the Bible. All the rituals were performed by Moses. All the rituals were performed by Elijah. All the rituals were performed by every performable actor in the scripture. They never prepared charm. The only seal that the ancient men use that is visible is the rock. Rock is the seal that God has prepared. So study about the culture is in the Bible. When you study it, bring it to your culture and see whether it marries with what the scripture says. If it does not marry, then correct it. Start to correct it, because that might be where the problem is coming from. Do you understand? So we also encourage the youth, don't just jump into the culture because you want. Seek a mentor who will help you understand, because the culture is mystery. It is the mystery of all mysteries. Ihe omimi n'ime omimi in Igbo land. So ihe omimi, you need a mentor to help you understand that ihe omimi, the mystery. It's not mystic. Our culture is not mystic. Our culture is mystery. So if you are not careful, you end up practicing the mystical aspect of it, which means you are off from the cultural approach. So you seek a mentor. Also, secondly, in succeeding as a cultural person, as a native man who wants to embrace his culture and through his culture find his God, will first of all find himself. If you have found yourself, you have found God.
Okay, let's look at Emeka Charles Amaze as an individual. What would you say is your breakthrough with the struggles, and today, what would you say you achieved greatly beyond every other effort you made in life if you look back some years ago?
It's quite the question is quite challenging, but I would like to address it this way. One of the best achievements so far is the Eze elect of my youth. Being an Eze elect, it is an experience, it is a journey that have left me with so many questions, so many uncertainties, and so many doubts as well. I have never pursued a course that left me with doubts. At a point, I asked myself, does my people have sense at all? I have never asked myself such question before. But at a point, I asked myself, do our people have what is called common sense at all to reason? So it gave me a fresh sense of reasoning. It is a challenge that helped me to really find who God is. Since in the missionary work, since in the church, since in my business, I've not really paid attention to seek really who this God is. But the quest for the kingship humbled me so greatly that I bent down to seek who God is proper. One day my wife asked me, who born God? It was a question I couldn't answer. I told her I am still researching. So at this quest of being an Eze elect or pursuing the royal stool of my community, I discovered that service to the community is one of the greatest things a man can do in his life. And in achieving that, the challenges towards it is greater than any other challenge of any other pursuit you pursue out there. So the greatest experience I have had in my life is the experience of being an Eze elect.
Okay, with that, we are looking forward to saying goodbye on the show. But before we say goodbye, Emeka Charles Amanze, High Prince Ugochinyere, is Amadioha Nsirimo, was enlisted amongst the Abia achievers based on the principles of things you have been able to do, both to your community and also to the cause of the state, because you were an advocate at some point on the creation of local government, within Omaha South and its environs, with a lot of evidences or logical arguments to that effect. And today you are here because Abia clocked 34 as part of your initiative and your progressions advocacies. How does that make you feel?
I feel great because when I listened to the declaration of the governor, Dr. Alex Chioma Oti at Ikuano, sometime he visited, that was the early stage of his office, he declared that he will want to create more local government in the state. And I feel that is a goal, a good goal. And I have to look into our area. In Sirimo, Umuawa, down to Obodi, down to Umogele, and down to Obingwa. is a good geographical map for a new local government, which I call the Sirimo local government. We are seeking to expand, and expansion is control. And I made it clear that in as much as more local government is to be created in Abia State, or also we are looking for to create a state. See, in as much as that is effective or that is approved, then there is nothing hindering a new local government in our place involving Abham, Mbarakoma. Just the road is the boundary towards the Imo River. That those areas need development. And how the development get there is by expanding our governmental reach. So I believe Abham, Umuawa, Nsirimu, Obodi to Umuapara down to Umuogele, these 5 and Obimba, these 6 communities as mentioned are due. They have many autonomous communities inside those communities I mentioned. They are due to be called a local government, and that is my initiative and my pursuit. And I will stop at nothing to see that such development become a reality.
Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, those under the sound of a voice, we have an Abia achiever for today. You have heard his aspiration, his word of admonition to the people out there. He has a target for youth at heart, and what the youth requires is just exactly what he read at, and also touched a bit on what tradition is looking like. Thank you so much, Royal High Prince, once again for being on the show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate and I wish you well.
And that will be the size of the package. Don't forget that Abia Achievers Day sets to bring in mind a lot of Abians with pedigree as they share their thoughts and their success stories. It will be good to comprehend and utilize that for the good of your future endeavors. Thanks so much. And my guest has been Dr. Charles Amanze, PhD, High Praise Ugochinyanawa, Eze Amadio Hansilimo, Eze elected Simo, Abise Autonomous Community, the Enyi Balagadam. Good to have you, and we look forward to having you once again.
Thank you very much.
And from me to you, Kingsley Okun, it's been a wonderful day. Please do stay with us. Abia Achievers, more will be coming down here for your pleasure on the show. Don't go nowhere.